tombs carved into the rock from the Ptolemaic and Roman eras. During their excavations in the Bahnasa archaeological site located in Minya Governorate, both the University of Barcelona's Spanish Archaeological Mission and Institute of Ancient Near East successfully discovered various tombs from Ptolemaic and Roman periods, along with multiple mummies specifically belonging to Romans. These types of burials feature holes carved into natural rock beneath ground level, a unique innovation for their time. Additionally, terracotta statues depicting Isis Aphrodite sporting floral wreaths and crowns were unearthed in this area for the first time ever. As such findings continue to surface frequently in these parts over different eras, it appears that there may yet be much more mystery surrounding burial practices waiting to be uncovered here. During the mission's search, a clay seal was uncovered along with fragments of papyrus. Numerous mummies were also discovered that had been adorned in various hues before being entombed. Intriguingly, select funerary masks featured gilded touches and vivid coloring cloaking their subjects' faces. Additionally, 2 individuals possessed gold tongues inserted into their mouths. Apart from denoting an age-old custom prevalent during Bahnasa's time as a Roman settlement likely done to maintain the integrity of those laid to rest for eternity. At this location, the tombs are constructed in a stone well fashion that terminates with an entrance sealed by mud bricks. Beyond lies a vast pit where several empty coffins were discovered, as well as one locked casket harboring mummies camouflaged under vividly colored cardboard coverings. The site also revealed 23 preserved remains positioned outside of their respective cases, along with 4 anthropomorphic-looking receptacles containing 2 interred corpses and miniature containers, holding votive-scented oils within one of them. During the mission, several stone blocks from a demolished building, adorned with drawings of plants, grapes, and various creatures, including pigeons and cobras, were discovered. The team plans to continue their excavation in future seasons in hopes of uncovering additional findings at the site. An Egyptian royal family with Greek descent. The Ptolemaic dynasty maintained an unusual and often misunderstood characteristic of never becoming Egyptian. Despite coexisting as both Greek monarchs and Egyptian pharaohs, they held on to their Greek language and traditions in every aspect. Their unique feature was preserved through intermarriages, mostly between siblings or even uncles' nieces. These unions aimed at consolidating power and wealth while stabilizing the family unit. Although many considered such marriages to be purely Egyptian due to tales like that of Isis marrying her brother Osiris, justification for this practice was found by referencing examples from Greek mythology where gods also intermarried, Cronus with Rhea, Zeus with Hera being prime instances. Out of the 15 marriages within the Ptolemaic dynasty, 10 were between siblings and 2 involved a niece or cousin. As a result, it can be concluded that Cleopatra VII, who was depicted in plays, poetry, and films as the final ruler under this dynasty, did not come from Egyptian ancestry, but rather Macedonian roots. Reports show that she descended from renowned Greek queens such as Olympias. Alexander the Great's overly controlling mother, suggests one historian. Nevertheless, Cleopatra stands out for being the sole Ptolemy who took initiative to learn and communicate in Egyptian language while showing interest in understanding its citizens. However, their custom of intermarriage led to undesirable consequences such as widespread jealousy and frequent conspiracies. It is said that Ptolemy IV ruthlessly killed his own uncle, brother, and mother. Similarly, Ptolemy VIII gruesomely murdered his teenage son before dismembering him into fragments. The demise of Alexander the Great in 323 BC caused chaos and uncertainty across his sprawling empire. With no designated heir or successor, he left behind a vague declaration that the kingdom should be given to the best. This prompted those who had loyally followed him on his travels from Macedon through Western Asia's desert sands to assume control over its destiny themselves. Some advocated for patiently waiting Until Roxanne gave birth to her and Alexander's child, their son would eventually become known as Alexander IV. Others opted for an immediate but self-serving option by dividing up the empire among them. Unfortunately, this final decision led to decades of warfare and destruction within the vast territory conquered by Alexander during his lifetime. His most faithful generals took charge based on how loyal they were perceived rather than meritocracy. Most enterprising. Ptolemy received jurisdiction last, leading it down paths paved with immense turmoil, testmanship whose echoes could still resonate today. Most sources state that Ptolemy I, Soter, Savior, was born into a noble Macedonian family, and his parents were Lagos and Arsinoe. He grew up as Alexander's childhood friend, official taster, bodyguard, and there are speculations of him being Philip II's illegitimate child. Following the king's death, he spearheaded the campaign to apportion territories among leading generals in what is known as Partition of Babylon, where he landed Egypt, which had always been on top of desired lands list due to its vast resources, according to Ptolemy. Egypt was conquered by Roman forces in 30 BC and became a province of the newly formed Roman Empire in 27 BC. Egypt served as a major producer of grain for the empire with a highly developed urban economy, making it the wealthiest Roman province outside Italy. Although estimates vary from 4 to 8 million people, we do not know exactly what its population was during this time period. Alexandria, with its capital status, was the largest port and second largest city in the Roman Empire. During the early Roman imperial period, Egypt was garrisoned by 3 Roman legions. Later on, this number decreased to 2 alongside auxiliary formations of the Roman army. In each administrative region known as a nome, one major town was granted additional privileges and referred to as a metropolis. The inhabitants of Rome's Egyptian province were split along ethnic and cultural lines throughout different social classes. The majority of them consisted of peasant farmers that lived in rural villages where they spoke the Egyptian language, which had evolved from Demotic Egyptian during both late periods through Ptolemaic times until Coptic under current governance by Romans. In every metropolitan area across these regions, individuals exclusively conversed using Koine Greek, which followed Hellenistic culture traditions at its core. The Antonine Plague struck in the late 2nd century, but Roman Egypt had recovered by the 3rd century. Having escaped much of the crisis of that time, Roman Egypt fell under the control of Palmyrene Empire after an invasion led by Zenobia in 269. The Emperor Aurelian, 270-275, successfully besieged Alexandria and regained control of Egypt. The usurpers Domitius Domitianus and Achillas had taken over the province in opposition to Emperor Diocletian, 284-305, who eventually recovered it during his reign from 297 to 298 AD, where he introduced administrative as well as economic reforms which coincided with the Christianization of Roman Empire, particularly evident through growth of Christianity in Egypt. After Constantine the Great gained control over Egypt specifically around AD 324, emperors started promoting Christianity throughout their rule. This also led to emergence of Coptic language amongst Christians that was derived directly from earlier forms Egyptian used at those times.